Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to use the new privacy report as well as the required reason API for iOS in Godot game engine. So let's get started. So if you don't know what all these things are, I will explain you as we go along with the tutorial. But firstly you would require Godot game engine installed, and obviously you would require Xcode installed, which is for deploying iOS app or developing iOS app. And obviously Xcode only works on macOS, so you would require macOS as well. So I have already installed Xcode as well as Godot game engine. Now what I will do, I will just create one Godot project. Also I have created one empty folder called Godot. You don't have to create this empty folder. It's just that once we create an or export an iOS project from Godot game engine, it will create lot of files, and I would like to keep a separate folder for that. That's why I'm doing this, but you don't have to do this. So firstly I'll just remove this missing. I'll create one Godot project. I will just go to that empty folder which I have created. Again, you don't have to create this empty folder, but you need to create a Godot project. So I will just name it whatever you feel like, name it. Okay, and I'll just click on create and edit. Now it will create the project for us. Now I'm not going to do anything inside our UI as such. That's not this what tutorial is all about. So I'll just save this UI. Okay, so this is my UI. I'll just run this so that our current scene is selected. Okay, that's it. That's all our app does. Nothing much more than that. Then we need to export it inside to an iOS project, right? So you just have to go to project, export, click add iOS, click on fix import. You will have to enter your app store team ID. Now I already have my app store team ID. To get your own app store team ID, you can go to this particular URL. It will guide you how to get your app store team ID. So if you want, you can just go to this URL, and here you can see it tells us how to get your app store team ID. But yeah, I already have my app store team ID, so I'll just copy that. I'll paste it over here. And also you have to give a bundle identifier as well. So here it can be com dot my I don't know, com dot nobody dot my app. It typically it is com dot your company name dot your app name, but for now it is fine. Then here inside the main Godot folder, what I'll do is I'll just create one more folder called iOS. Okay, and then I'll just export our project to that particular iOS folder. Because it will create lot of files for us, that's why. Now again, this will take little bit of time, so just be patient a little bit. And in the meantime, what I can do is I will just open this particular URL and try to explain it to you what exactly is the privacy report as well as the required reason API. So firstly we will be looking into the required reason API. Now suppose so inside this particular documentation, you can just click on this particular thing, NS privacy access API type. Now firstly you will have to read the documentation. There is no two ways about it. So there are a lot of iOS available APIs. I'm talking about first party APIs, not third party APIs. First party APIs which are directly provided by Apple. One of the common APIs which you might have heard about if you have little bit of native iOS knowledge is user defaults. So suppose if you are using user defaults inside your application, typically you would not use user defaults if you have written all your code inside Godot game engine. But suppose if you have created an iOS plugin which uses user defaults for some or the other case, I'm just giving you an example. Okay, so suppose you have using user defaults, then you will have to create this required reason API to tell Apple that you are using user defaults while uploading the app to Apple App Store. Now how to do that? So here you can see my project was exported. So I will just go to the iOS folder. I will double click on this .xcode proj file. It will automatically open for me in Xcode. So here you can see it already have this privacy info for Godot game engine. When you export it, hopefully this is there for you. At least I am using Godot 4.3.0. If it is not there for you, what you can do is you can just right click, new file from template, just search for app privacy, click on next, and here you can just name it as privacy info or whatever, and just click on create, but make sure you check this checkbox. Now we don't need to create this because we already have this. Okay, so we can just go to privacy info. Now here you can see they have given this privacy access API type, privacy tracking enabled, So it is already using some APIs like file timestamp. Okay, so Godot game engine maybe internally uses all these things. That's why they have already used this. So you can't write whatever come to your mind over here and just be done with it. That's not the case. So here you can see they are using file timestamp. Okay, they are using the system boot time as well, and they are using disk space as well. Okay, now I'm giving you just an example. So suppose I'll just minimize all this. Suppose I'm using user defaults. Okay, so the user defaults is basically used to store key value data. Let me just check my cheat sheet. Privacy access API type. Okay, just a second. Okay, so suppose we are using user defaults. It can be anything. So first what we will have to do, once I have this privacy access API type, I'll just have to click on this plus button. So I want to add one more item, so it has added this item 0. Okay, so inside item 0, if you just click on this arrow, make it downwards, okay, then you have to click again on this so if I'm not able to see anything after clicking on this arrow, right? So again I have to click on the plus button for the item 0. Okay, so I'll click on this, and first I'll select this privacy access API type, then again I'll click on item 0, again I'll click on plus button. Sometimes it doesn't work, yeah, and then here I will select now privacy access API reasons. And now in privacy access API type, if I'm using user defaults, I will have to use this particular string. Again, you can't just write whatever comes to your mind. You can't just directly type out user defaults. You have to copy this particular string, and when I paste it, do watch it, it automatically converts to user default as soon as I press enter. Here you can see it has automatically converted to user defaults. Now here again it will change. This privacy tracking enabled will change depending on what exactly you are tracking. I'm not tracking anything, so yeah, this is no for me. This is by default was present once we exported the project. Now we also need to give some reasons. Now there could be multiple reasons why you are using user defaults. So currently it has only added item 0, but suppose now again you will have to go to the documentation to check why you are using user default. So suppose we are using it for this particular reason, to access user default to read write information that is only accessible to the app itself. So if you're using user defaults for this particular reason, then you just have to copy this. Again, you can't just hard code or type some text out whatever comes to your mind. You can't do that. You just have to copy this particular CA92.1 and paste it over here. Now it will automatically convert as soon as I press enter. Here you can see it has the cursor goes down goes down to the next item as soon as I press enter, but here you can see it has converted to this. So be careful, you can't just randomly type things out. Now suppose you are using user defaults for some other thing as well. So again I have to click on item 1, click on this plus button besides item 0, so it will add item 1, and then again go through the documentation just to check. So suppose I'm using user defaults for app clips as well. Then again I'll just have to copy this and I'll have to paste it over here, click enter, and it will automatically add this thing for you. So yeah, that's it for user defaults. Again, if you're using some other APIs, so suppose if I just scroll up, I'm using for this active input keyboard mode as well, then again I'll just have to copy this. Here again I'll have to add one more item, so I'll click on privacy access API type, I'll click on this plus button. Again it other item, so item 1 is now user defaults. Okay, so item 0 is the new item which has been added. Again I'll click on this plus item plus button, sorry, first add privacy access type, again click on item 0 plus button and just click on it and click on privacy access API reason. So privacy access API type, I will just paste whatever I have copied, click on enter, and here you can see it automatically converted to active keyboards. Don't type it by yourself, copy it from the documentation. Now for what are the reasons, so again you will have to go through the documentation. So suppose this is the reason why I'm using it, I can just copy it, I can paste it over here. So here you can see it has added this active keyboard. So hopefully you got the point for privacy access APIs. Okay, next thing is there is something called privacy, what I have explained you is required reason API. Next thing is privacy report. Now even I'm not really sure about this, like I will try to explain as much as I know. So firstly I have gone through this documentation. This is not from Apple, this particular documentation. So this privacy nutrition label APIs are used. If you see over here, whenever we are accessing contact info, health and fitness, financial loan, location, sensitive info, contacts, user content, browsing history, all this stuff. So suppose if we are using health and fitness, okay, accessing health and fitness data of the user, then what you will have to do, firstly we will have to go to this particular URL over here. Okay, so I'll just open this, and here as you can see they have given lot of things. So firstly again I'll just come back over here. I'll just close this privacy access API type. I'll click on this app privacy configuration. I'll click on this plus button besides the app privacy configuration. Okay, I'll click on plus. Yeah, sometimes this doesn't really work. Click on plus. Why is this plus not working? Yeah, sometimes it is little. Yeah, here you can see. Now here I will have to select privacy nutrition label types. Okay, next I'll just expand this. I'll click on this plus button, and here I have the item 0, and item 0 has all this data type. Now for us, I'm interested in health related data, right? So for that I will have to copy this particular thing. Just copy this and paste it inside collected data type. Click enter, and here you can see it automatically converted to health. Now is it linked to user? Most probably yes. Are you using for tracking? Depends on you. I'll make it as yes. Now you will also have to add the collection purpose, why exactly you need it. Again, you can't randomly type it. You will have to go to this particular documentation and open it over here. So here is this. So here over here you will have to verify why exactly you are using it. So most just a second, I think I have copied the wrong URL, I guess. Product personalization. Yeah, sorry, you will have to go to this particular URL. I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. I think I copied the wrong one. So yeah, this is the entire URL, sorry. So you will just have to go to this particular URL. Okay, why is this not loading? Just copy it again, remove this, I'll paste it over here. Okay, I'll just paste it in new tab. Yeah, so this is the collection data type purpose. So it will depend on you why exactly you are using it. So suppose I'm using it for third party advertising, so I'll have to copy this one and I'll have to paste it over here, right inside item 0. Click enter and it will automatically convert to third party advertising. Suppose if you have more things, just click on this plus button as well. If more reasons, I mean for health and health related data. So I suppose I'm using for developers advertising or marketing. So then I can just paste it over here as well. So yeah, developer advertising or marketing. Now same thing, if you are using more things, then you again have to click on privacy nutrition label types and again click on this plus button. So the item 0 is now empty, so just click on item 1 is now our health and data which we have added. So again come back to collected data types. Sorry, where exactly? Look. So again I'll just open this. I think I messed up the URL. So here again, so suppose I'm using something like name such as first or last name, then I will again have to copy this and here I will have to paste it over here. Enter, and here you can see it has converted it automatically to name. Is it linked to user? Yes. Am I used for tracking? No. Then here you will again have to enter the collection purpose. So for that again you will have to go to this and just privacy collected data purpose analytics. Okay, so you can add it over here. Click on enter. So again it's more about you guys reading the documentation, so that is very important. Now what I'll do is I will just archive it, because the archive takes a lot of time, because from the archive we will get the report. I'm not sure the report which we will get from the archive is for us internal use, just to see what exactly you are tracking or not. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just click on product. Make sure you have what I'll do, I have not connected my real device, so I'll just select any iOS device, and I'll come over here, product archive. Make sure you have signed in with your proper account using sign in and capabilities. Let it do its thing. There is one more thing which I want to tell you. Okay, so this was successful already. I was expecting this to take a lot of time. Anyways, so if you want to get the report just for your own internal use, you can just right click, generate privacy report, and I can just click save it on desktop. Okay, and if you want, you can see this privacy report. So here you can see this is the privacy report for me. So yeah, you can just go with this, just check whether you have added everything or not. If not, you can add more things as well. So this privacy report does not include the required reason API. Okay, so these are two different things, don't get confused. Okay, so that is done. There is one more thing which I want to tell you is regarding third-party APIs. So now for third-party APIs, you don't have to worry about it. So there are two situations. So go to the third-party SDK requirements. So suppose if you are using any of these third-party APIs, so you will again have to go through the documentation just to check. But suppose if I'm using Firebase, now Firebase internally already have created the required reasons API as well as privacy report, so we don't have to worry about it even if I'm using Firebase inside my Godot game engine or Godot game project. But suppose if you are using a third party dependency which has not been updated for the past year or past 2 years or more than that, more likely than not it will not have the privacy reasons API or so required reason or privacy report, because this was just introduced recently, last year itself. So 2024 around May or something like that it was introduced. So yeah, it won't have all this stuff. So if you're using an outdated dependency inside your project, it is your job to either fork that particular dependency, create a privacy report for it and then use it. Otherwise just remove that dependency from your project and use some other dependency. That's my suggestion. So hopefully you got the point. That's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.